We'll do one more.
one more. All right.
Wait, did you forget to record?
No, we're actually recording right now.
Oh, god damn it.
Um. Okay. One more clap sync.
Mm-hmm.
One.
Ready.
Okay. 1, 2. Okay. I think we got it.
This is a professional environment.
And make sure you're still on
Oh,
the
I gotta
Discord.
start recording on my end too.
God damn it! Oh my god! I need
No, I
your.
got it. I did it.
Are you sure you recorded? Because I need your
Yes,
audio
I'm
to.
recording.
Okay. All right.
Wait, you wanted me to record my audio?
Yeah, just in case.
Oh. Um, I mean, OBS is picking up something.
Like, is it picking up your mic? Just like look down.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. So that should be good.
I keep clipping it because I'm too close to the computer, but I don't know.
All right, that should be okay. We'll see how shit your mic is. You're coming up fine on the Discord, so hopefully that's good enough.
Well, then that should be okay.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
I guess you're right. We should have redundancy. That's smart.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Minecraft Let's Play episode 1.
Yeah. We're gonna be playing a lot of Minecraft today, and
we're gonna be playing so much Minecraft.
Yeah, in this episode, our goal is to get to the Ender Dragon and make that happen.
On episode 1, you have to get wood on episode 1.
No. We know a speedrun hack. To do that.
Welcome to our Minecraft Tassel series, where it takes 2 minutes to get to the final boss and win.
Yeah, it's major hacks. Stay after for V-Bucks. Anyway, hello everyone.
This is Last Word.
This is Last Word, episode 1, our first.
With your host Rachel
and your co-host EJ.
You really want to use your last name?
Yeah.
I'm not using my last name.
Yeah, let's just we'll cut that. We'll cut that. Okay, here.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, wait. Let's restart it. Let's restart the intro so I don't actually. Okay.
From where? Where are we starting from?
Let's just go straight into the Minecraft bit so I just can cut out this whole audio so I don't have to like.
No. I'm putting this entire thing in the
video. But hey everyone, it's me, EJ, and no last name.
Me. Wait, we didn't do the Minecraft bit.
Wait, fuck. Okay, all right. One more try.
No, we're moving on. Moving on. That's our intro.
That's all right. Hey everyone, it's Worm. It's Last Worm. Last word. And we're reading Worm.
Oh my God.
A quick history of our lives. I know
we're gonna be doing a sort of book club, a discussion of Worm. This is gonna be an ongoing series. I am a Worm aficionado, and my dear darling boy EJ is a fresh-faced greenhorn who knows nothing about the series other than what I have excitedly told him in car rides. And we have we got a long way to go.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll see this through to the end. End of Worm and perhaps onwards, which is where the name Last Word comes from. Combination of Worm and Ward. I'm very clever. Today we're gonna be discussing Arc 1, Gestation.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Do you want to just jump right into it? Do you have anything else you wanted to cover before we get? I guess we should cover what this series is going to be because.
So
I'm sure. Oh, go on.
No. So like this should be a weekly podcast that we do. Every hopefully coming out every Sunday. To make you guys's Worm culture good and strong. Rachel has talked so much about this fucking story, and I was like, fuck it, if I'm gonna read it, you're gonna be right here to hear me fucking bitch about everything I hate about it. I'm just kidding. Just
Oh yeah, you're gonna hate this story. You hate it so far, right? You're at arc one.
yeah.
You were telling me in the car earlier. You were telling me over Discord earlier how much you hated arc one so far.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to let everyone at home who really loves this series and it's a cult following know that EJ absolutely hates your favorite thing in the world. So
Yeah, when the story started out and it was like I was like, what is this? What is this garbage?
I don't think
Like,
it starts with the. I
uh,
think it. What does it start with? It starts with like my
class.
right. Class. It
Yeah,
starts with class.
and really, we're bringing like wealth disparity already in our fucking superhero story. Wow, wow. Anyway,
Yeah.
starting off,
So before we get into it, I wanted to explain a little bit about this because I'm sure people at home who are actually listening to this shit are well aware of We've Got Worm and We've Got Ward, which is a very similar worm discussion podcast that is hosted by Matt Freeman and Scott Daly over on Doofcast. We are not affiliated with them, and we are aware of their work, and we are going to attempt to differentiate ourselves from them.
I've never listened to them, but they sound smart. Like, and we
Yeah,
are not
their
that.
podcast is really cool, and I would recommend everyone go and listen to them for a more literary analysis. They
Yeah,
talk a lot about metaphors and character motivations. And we're gonna not ignore those things, obviously, but we're gonna be touching on some of the subjects that they were more reticent to
yeah,
spend a lot of time on. Things like the fights and the powers
yeah,
and the world building, the cool narrative stuff that kind of fell by the wayside in favor of literary analysis,
yeah.
which
When
isn't
when
to
Taylor did
disparage
that,
them.
when Taylor did that triple backflip right into that
She
guy's
said
like ball sack.
it's bugging time, and then she bugged all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be like, man, that was pretty cool, right? And we're gonna be like, yeah, and that's gonna be it
I'm
for
glad
like
you
2 hours.
previewed that so that when we do that in the future, they'll know that that was coming. When we have that exact conversation in
Yeah,
like 20 minutes.
yeah. All right, so let's start off. All right, so like right now, beginning of the story, do you want me to just kind of give my like opinion about like the story as we go, and you just like interject with questions, or do you want to like give me a question first?
Yeah, let's do a little. I think we should start by just doing sort of like a recap of like what was happening in the story, and if you've got anything to say, or if I've got anything to say about like what was going on at that point, or like things that you were interested in. If you want to start us out, because I don't want to like spoil anything for you accidentally, or
Yeah.
draw attention to anything that's important that you don't know is important. That
So
seems smart.
yeah, yeah, okay, okay. So basically, our main character is just a small town girl living in a lonely
All
world.
right.
But we start off with her in high school, and she immediately is like, uh, I'm a bit of a loner, like I am kind of like different from everybody else
I'm
and
different from all the other girls.
different from all the other girls, which is like pretty standard stuff. Um, and her name is Taylor. I don't know why, but like Taylor seems like such like almost like too generic of a name. I kind of love it because it's just like Taylor. That's it.
Oh, her last name is Hebert.
Hebert.
That's weird, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Now,
Hebert.
now, now it's balanced out.
It sounds like Hebert. That sounds like a Muppet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hebert.
That sounds like a proper made up name. You like
That's what
roll
we work with
together.
Hebert.
But yeah, so she uh she gets bullied by a group of girls and like just get her fucking shit pushed in the whole time. And what was really interesting to me, at least for this like the first bit, um is it shows like all the shit she's like going through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it really like I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's just on that borderline of like uh I don't want to say realism because that's probably not the right word, but believability of the bullying. That I'm like, okay, I can
Like,
kind of
so awful, right?
yeah, it's still like god awful, but it's not like they're pulling her hair and like, brandishing a knife and like scarring her up. No, they're just like dumping shit on her. Um,
Yeah.
did they
It's
say
it's horrific and it's constant, but it does have this tinge of just like, oh man, I can see someone deciding to do that for some fucked up reason,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Um, and I don't know if like Teacher Man, I didn't even put him in the notes, but I'm just like
Mr.
looking at.
Gladly.
Uh,
We're gonna talk about him more later because he gets a much bigger part in the story, and I've got a lot of thoughts about Gladly
okay,
that I
see,
want to
I
ask you
see.
about.
That's the thing too. I don't know who's gonna be like relevant and who's not. So like, I'm
Yeah,
just like, Mr. Gladly. He seems like a
Gladly.
pretty chill dude. Like, I know she's like, I hate him because he's like talking to people. Um,
She
but
does have a bit of that attitude, doesn't she?
yeah. But I think he's gonna be a very nice, chill guy. I'm probably gonna eat those
Okay, that's
words,
your
but
prediction. That's your prediction.
yeah, that's
Locking
my
that in,
yeah,
folks. Mark
yeah.
that one down on
Uh,
your bingo card.
Gladly is gonna like come up.
Glandly.
That's another thing too. I will butcher names, so get ready for that.
He's gonna butcher words so much. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great part of this
Yeah,
series. I
but
look forward to sharing EJ's speech patterns with all of you.
yes, but one of the first things that's actually important, is that we learned that one of the girls that's bullying her is used to be her best friend, Emma.
Bum, bum, bum.
And I low key love this shit because it either turns into like Emma becomes like one of the main supervillains that she has to fight and deal with constantly,
Ooh,
or
that's a prediction right there. We're
or
gonna have a prediction section later of like things that I want to ask you about, but
right,
that's a good one.
or like Emma becomes like enemies to lovers of some flavor. Like those are like the two things I'm getting from Emma already. Even though I don't even think like we have her like actually doing anything for this first arc. She's just like mentioned. So anyway, so after that, Emma fucking cries and goes home in the middle of the, oh wait,
Taylor
Taylor.
goes home.
Jesus Christ. Taylor goes home after we find out her ability, which is to control insects, which I already knew just from Rachel telling me about it.
Yeah,
But
so I wanted to ask you, sorry, before I move on, I just wanted to ask you what you think we're doing, like with this. This is such a weird way to start out a superhero story, right? We get nothing about the superheroes in the first chapter.
right.
Almost nothing. I mean, we know that they exist. She mentions them and she explains that she has a superpower, but she barely uses it. And she's just focusing on like not trying to use it. And we spend the entire first section of this book. The most important thing that we had to talk about was like this bullying, like this horrible thing that's been going on in her life.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, I'm curious what you think we're doing with that, like why we would start there instead of with the exciting stuff that would hook readers in.
I think it's just to put it to make it more like grounded and not like spectacle, because we do get like a proper, I think, like introduction in the interlude with the dad, like of like this is kind of like the world we live in kind of deal, which
Yeah,
most people,
at the very end of the chapter we get
yeah,
some lore, right?
yeah, and usually
We'll
I
talk
feel
more
like
about that when we get
readers
to it.
would start at the the lore drop will start at the beginning, and then we transition into our
Get
character.
Your Lord of the Rings 3 minute
Yeah, exactly.
opening sequence with Galadriel explaining this is Scion.
Yeah,
He's super
exactly.
powerful.
But yeah, so after uh she gets on the bus to go home, we also find out that her goal is to become a hero. Like she's like, I'm gonna be a fucking superhero. I'm gonna fucking beat the bad guys.
Yeah, I guess who
And
doesn't want
um and she goes home, takes a shower, and then she's like trying to think about anything good. And then she's like, oh right, I have a fucking superhero suit in the basement. I'm gonna go fucking touch it. I really I really enjoy
to? Good
the
recap, buddy.
yeah. I do enjoy the information about her suit and how it's made by spider
Yeah, how
webs,
she made it.
which is very interesting. Like she says she's like has like bits and pieces of armor around it that's like made from like bugs, but I'm like trying to think like how much like armor is that really? Like I can't have like a great
Yeah, I don't know
visualize.
about that one. I remember not really noticing that the first time I read this book, and then when I was going back for this specifically, I was like, wait, I thought you just like bought like plexiglass online. I
No,
didn't
it's
realize she
made out
made
of
them out of bug
bugs.
carapaces.
Yeah.
How the fuck did she do that?
Like I get like the webs and like it being like super strong. especially if she's like actually able to control them that precisely.
Yeah, so I guess she must have just taken carapaces of dead bugs and weaved them together with spider silk, like really thick.
Yeah, but I don't know like how, like, because she was like, oh, it takes like fucking um like bolt cutters basically to cut her suit when she like messes up. Like you can't just like cut it with like scissors or a knife. So that's pretty
Mhm.
interesting. It shows that it is durable. So like if she does get like tossed around or something like that, it's not like, oh, she's broken all of her bones, but like
Oh, I'm sure
maybe
that'll never happen in this story.
yeah, she's never like, honestly, she's never gonna get hurt. Ever. That's my prediction as well. She's gonna like no Dark Souls, no hit.
You've read Arc 1, you know that's not true.
No, shut up, shut up. That was just
She
like a
gets hurt really badly in like 3 chapters.
no, that's just like a flesh wound. That's like a it's
Flashman.
great. But yeah, so she you know explains her costume, kind of gives a breakdown of like how other people get their costumes as well. I like the idea that like it's like, oh, we can't be tracked, is and like, you know, she doesn't want people to like know obviously about her identity, which I've always been a little bit like about the secret identity kind of stuff. I wonder how they handle it further in the story, but always
What do
am
you
like,
mean
I
by
I always am like, just it it's hard to like keep your identity hidden, especially when you're going out there in the like public eye and being something like, I get like the grade A, like the actual superheroes and things like that, having to like need some amount of anonymity because there's so much in the spotlight. But like, you know, for like the street level people just like doing stuff and like I never was like, oh, you need to hide your identity, like you need to wear a mask and things like that. Like I don't know if this talked about in the first arc, but like is superheroing like a fine if you don't have the right paperwork kind of deal. Like obviously you can just be a bad guy and do
you
whatever.
know, she talks about in Arc 1. Give me a second. You guys can probably hear people outside my fucking window. Um, I think, you know, they talk about in Arc 1, like, what would happen if she used her powers on the trio. And she mentions, like, she'd be arrested
Right,
and she
right.
would go to
Like I
prison
get like
because they take like powers super seriously. They're really dangerous, right?
right.
In this world. And I think you touched on a big part of world building that I really like is that the people in this world think all the time about superheroes and they take them really seriously. It's not like Spider-Man. It's not just like, oh, there's that guy who you see on TV sometimes. It's like, okay, there are demigods running around. We need to build society around this fact. So, like, parahumans, capes, they're going to be targeted,
Right.
right? And a big part, I think, of targeting capes, like a big way that people could like get revenge on you if you go out as a hero and you start putting away bad guys and you like let one escape and they know who you are, well, they're gonna come after your family.
Right. It's the classic Spider-Man one, you know, you don't attack the
Yeah, exactly.
person, you attack their heart.
Yeah,
me
exactly.
and
See,
me and you, Spider-Man. I swear to God, if there's not a me and you Spider-Man moment with Taylor, with like literally anybody, I'm going to lose my mind.
okay, noted for the future.
Um, but yeah, and you know another thing too is that like it really fucking goes quickly. That's another thing I'm surprising with. I did not expect the first chapter to actually have like a fight scene, or like even her like actually going out and like doing some patrolling shit. It moves pretty fast in that regard. I thought it was gonna be like at least uh a good chunk of like the first arc of her just like talking about her powers, talking about the world, going through school, and then eventually like at the end of the chapter stepping out and doing like some like patrol shit at night. But no, it's pretty like immediately we're going right into it. Um
Oh, this is a story about capes.
so it's interesting. I thought it'd be a little bit more of a slow burn, but just how long the story
Would you have
actually,
preferred it if it was a slow burn?
like I mean, I don't know yet.
I mean,
I'll
keep in
have,
mind this is a 30 arc book. There are
yeah,
30 arcs in the whole thing, and this is
yeah,
arc one. We've already gotten through 1/30th of the book.
right, right. Um, so I don't know. I guess that's just personal opinion. But I was expecting a little bit more of a slow burn into like her actually doing it. But like the third chapter of arc one, she's like, all right, I'm gonna do this shit, which is fine. I love to how her area, like they explain in the first arc that like basically um the more like actual villains there are, the more like the fucking head like superhero organization like sets up buildings. Like they have a fucking force field headquarters with like fucking anti-air missiles and shit like
Yeah,
that. Um
with a giant fucking force field around the whole thing. It's like
yeah,
a sphere out in the middle of the ocean, just sitting there.
yeah. Which is like pretty funny. Like I guess another like I'll talk about this when we get to like the actual fight and like, you know, the powers and things like that a little bit more. But
Hmm.
I'm wondering like if like because you know our first guy like bad guy Lung, like he's treated kind of like he's like a big deal, but he's treated kind of like a C-lister kind of deal, at least like with
Yeah, she
the
does specifically say this guy is not an A-lister,
yeah,
doesn't she?
yeah, like this is not like a heavy hitter. And I'm like looking at his abilities and things like that, I'm like he's not considered like a heavy hitter. What the like I'm like maybe they do need a force field and like
See,
anti and you know missiles if
I
like
think what it is. So, I think what it is. I don't know if this is really spoilers, but is that he's not a heavy hitter in terms of grand stage antics.
right like
Like
he's
he's strong as shit, but he's just like a guy.
yeah
He's
like
just a gangster who
he
doesn't have like really big ambitions.
right like I
And
understand
there's
that
all kinds of things you can do with superpowers, and we're going to see throughout the whole book like the incredible influence you can exert over like the world at large if you have the right power. That's one
right
of the things that I find really interesting about Worm is that in general, I mean, there's not really like a power ranking. There kind of is, uh, but like the most influential capes, the ones who pose like the most threat to the stability of the world are usually the ones who have like not physical powers. They have like cerebral stuff. People
right
like Tattletale,
right
where they can clearly they've got some edge
like
over people in thinking
it's just
or
like hacks over actual like physical
yeah.
abilities, which is always like the thing. Like you've watched My Hero Academia, right?
I watched just most of it.
Yeah,
I got sick of it
right. I mean
after a
that's
while.
yeah. The thing is
Uh,
that I'm gonna be pulling from a lot of that because of how you know it's anime, which means they always go in super detail about certain things. So like a little bit of my opinions and things like that are gonna be like inserted into this, being like, okay, you know, this is kind of like how they did it, and this is how they're doing it because this is
yeah.
like a you know supposed to be a more real like grounded world where it's not just like you know Batman and Superman like flying together. Like there's like rules and regulations, people are regulated, you know, there's marketing, they make marketable plushies of everyone, like you know
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
not like oh uh this is a world that's always had superheroes. It's like oh this was once a normal world that superheroes got introduced and now society is like you know adjusting, and it doesn't seem like it's as dark as like something like The Boys where it's like oh everything just sucks. It seems more in like that Invincible like kind of where like shit gets real, but it's not like you know fucking every 5 seconds someone is exploding because like somebody sneezed too hard, you know what I mean?
Um, sure.
I mean it's at least for this first chapter like this first arc, I should say. But anyway, going back to like you know finishing up the wrap up here, like she immediately is like, all right, I'm gonna actually like go and do this. I'm gonna like put on my like half-ass costume. And I'm gonna patrol the night like I'm fucking
I thought she
Batman.
spent like 3 months building it.
Yeah, but it's still, she says it's not even finished yet. Like actually, um,
Oh, that's what you mean.
uh, so like she goes over, and I love how she's just like, I went into the bad neighborhood. Does she really like? Does she give? I don't really remember, but does she give like a reason Like she actively go
Like she's just looking for crime.
yeah, she's just like looking for someone to beat up, which I just fucking like is so funny to me. It's just like, all right, I'm gonna find
It's such a
somebody.
like kid way of being a superhero. It's like, well, I got my powers. Let's I don't
Let's
know, let's just go look for criminals like on the street. Maybe I'll
yeah,
find one.
let's go to
And
the
then she
low.
does. She's vindicated for that.
Yeah, but it's like let's go to the low income area and see if there's like anybody that's like being
Let's go into
bad.
a low income area of housing named Section 8.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some bad people there.
Goes
Um,
by the government name of Section
but
8.
luckily she does find somebody. And it's the group of the Asian persuasion and their main guy Lung. Um, and
Asian persuasion.
it's interesting because like she's like, yeah, no, they don't like, get together like this, and like Lung is obviously the one ahead in charge of all of them. um but I don't think he's uh like actually the one in charge, because he seems kind of like a more brute head, but who knows. Again, like I assume with how you were talking about this before that like Lung is gonna be a recurring character. I thought he was just like the a one offer, but who knows?
Yeah,
Um,
I don't want to give away too much, but I gotta say that Lung is one of my favorite characters in all of Parahumans. Which isn't, I think, a very popular opinion, but I just can't help it. He's got such a fucking presence. He's such a beast. You don't see a ton of it here because Taylor really like takes him out early, but my god, he's such a beast.
yeah.
I love him.
And so like she's like overhearing them talk and stuff like that, and the main thing that makes her jump in is that like, oh, they're talking about killing children. I thought it was gonna be a which it kind of is, but I obviously was like, there's no way they're just like gonna go out there and kill children for like no reason. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, they're bad guys, but they're not just like gonna go to the orphanage and fucking hit the slam. Um,
Find a couple of orphans and just slam dunk them into the wall.
yeah, like that one scene in like Always
Slam
Sunny in
jam.
Philadelphia where it's just fucking Charlie just beating the shit out of kids. Um,
God, I love that.
but yeah,
Go
so
watch that show if you guys haven't seen it.
uh,
Glorious show
but
where we
yeah,
get an entire slow mo, like 2 minute action sequence of two grown men beating up a bunch of 12-year-olds. God,
it,
it's wonderful.
and you know what's really funny is that I love the detail that like yes they know like of the powers and things like that, but they don't know like the extent of anybody's abilities unless they're like fucking got a Wikipedia article about them. That's really a
Yeah,
nice
that's one of my favorite things about this book.
um
About like the way that the fights happen in this book is how much of it is dictated by information. Like if you know the other person's powers and they don't know yours, you have a massive fucking advantage.
right.
Right, and it
uh
makes sense. Like if you're able to do something that they don't expect, they're like, "Whoa, what? You can
you can do
summon
that.
knives?"
Yeah, I thought you
Your
could
wiki
just
just said that you could like sing good.
yeah. um and that is interesting, and I like the one thing I am worried about as I'm thinking about it is that hopefully it doesn't become too much of like an ass pull like in anime where it's like, oh, you didn't realize that as I was like clapping my cheeks, you thought it was just a sonic wave, but actually it's a telekinetic passive waves as well. The harder I twerk, the more your mind bends and breaks at my will. I've never told anybody this, but suffer me, the thrower backer. Um, I just hope stuff like that doesn't
You just
happen.
come up with that on the spot.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
But yeah, so going back to the story, she starts sending out the insects. I appreciate that like basically she can like feel the insects out and like kind of get a description and like feel of like her environment on people and things like that, which is pretty cool. She
Yep.
got like a third eye with them.
Good old
Um,
swarm sense.
yeah, so she starts biting them and like all that shit. And they're all like, what the fuck is going on? Then like the main guy, Lung,
I love how she takes the time to describe like, oh boy, I sure can feel everything, including the bugs that are like crawling up and down people's junk.
yeah.
And
Uh,
she's just trying to ignore it as hard as she can
yeah.
while she
Um,
bites people's dicks off.
yeah, which is pretty nice. So yeah, she like low key starts like whooping their ass. And they like just legit just don't know what to do, but also they are literal bugs. So like, you know, Lung like has fired abilities. And so like a little bit of preference, like I love his power set of like, you know, the longer a fight goes, the stronger I get. It's very much like Hulk coded, which has always been like a
Yeah,
favorite. Like,
he's such a brute,
yeah,
right?
which is a favorite of mine in terms of like power sets, where it's just like I just get stronger the longer this goes, which is always fun. Um,
So what does Taylor do in that situation? Of course, she just tries to end it immediately.
yeah. And it does not work.
Does not work
it
at
just
all.
pisses
Just
them
makes him
off.
angrier.
Yeah.
Classic maneuver.
And I don't
Fallen victim to
know.
one of the classic blunders.
Yeah, and so like the fight actually starts, and it's honestly just a lot of just her just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it does something to him. And when it doesn't, she's like, "All right, I'm gonna throw more shit at the wall." Like she kind of has like a strategy of just like staying out of line of sight, obviously, and just like running around and not being seen.
She plays like, or she plays out like how I like a D&D character,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, she's
We're just
just
like, does this thing
hiding.
work? No. Does this thing work? No. Does this thing work? And she just keeps working through her list of options until she finds something that works.
Yeah. And I'm forgetting, but I know like the main thing that like pisses him off is when he gets like stung in the eye. Um, and that's like after getting already like a bunch of different like because she starts
Yeah,
using the
God, what
more
is she?
poison.
She was like a fucking hornet.
Yeah,
Just
into
like
the
right into his eyeball. Fucking ow!
yeah. And the thing is that he heals fast, and like she starts using more poisonous like insects, right, to try to like wear him down and things
Yeah.
like that. Like I have like a bit of the story up here. But yeah, it's just like he just gets more and more fucking like into shit, and she starts to want, because like that's another thing. It's like, you know, most powers have a cost to them, so she starts to wonder like what's his cost for doing this. Um, and I don't know if you remember too well, but like as the fight goes on and things like that, what is the thing that like actually like slows him down enough?
Well, it's that the poison starts working.
Okay,
Like
okay, I wanted to
it's
make
sort of
sure.
like there's like this constant back and forth, I think, in his body of like he's been pumped full of lethal doses of like Black Widow venom, but also he's getting bigger and stronger and healing over time. So it's like it's going back and forth. And she
Mm,
says that like, people with regeneration have a tendency to just shrug off poison, but not entirely.
okay,
Um I don't know if it's really so much that there is I don't think the way they describe it is that every power has a cost. It's just that every power has limitations.
right,
There are
like
things that people can do and things that they can't do.
right,
You
right,
know, um, Taylor, I don't know, she can't like command like larger animals. Like they have to have a really simple neural pattern,
right,
like a
right.
simple
Yeah, yeah, like it's like she controls
nervous
bugs.
system.
That's already a pretty heavy limitation, and they have to like
Yeah.
actually be in the area. It's not like she can
And
like
she's got like yeah, she's got a really specific limited range. It's like 2 or 3 blocks, I think.
yeah, which is pretty
Um,
massive in terms of just like actual space of manipulation. You like, you know,
mhm.
that's a pretty big radius. But still, it's like they have to get there. You know,
And I
she
think if you had to say like, okay, so what's Lung's big limitation? It's that you can take him out early. It's that he needs time to build up.
right, but that
Which
doesn't.
Taylor fucks up,
Yeah,
doesn't do properly.
right. So like the fight continues on, and like Lung like finds her by like big jumps and like starts breathing fire at her and things like that, and she's like barely. I love the idea that she's like, I have pepper spray, that maybe that'll do something. Um, um,
And then it fucking
it does,
does.
and then it does, which is funny. That's amazing because it like
It's a
fucking
great beat. Like everything she has, all her superpowers, none of it works, and then pepper spray
yeah,
right in
pepper
the eyes.
spray, yeah, and he's like, ow, that's
This
like it's
Christian macing a GameStop employee would have been enough to take out
yeah,
Lung.
Christian stronger than Lung confirmed power scaling. So yeah, the fight goes on, and there's not a lot to go on with this. It's just the fact that like she just is like running for her life. And I honestly forgot.
Yeah,
Like,
calling it a fight feels
yeah, it's
a little
more.
generous to her.
Yeah, it's mostly just her like fucking like
It's just
kicking
like she just got a message at the top of her screen
this.
that said "Objective Survive."
Yeah, like this is literally the equivalent of like somebody like coming up to you and you're obviously like physically superior, but they just keep kicking you in the balls. Like that's this fight where like
That's
she
my purse.
yeah,
I don't know you.
like it's like he obviously could kill her in like one shot if given the chance, but she keeps like just kicking him in the balls, like running and hiding, and like he like goes around the corner and just is getting kicked in the balls again. Like he's like
Doesn't she
able.
seem like she'd be a lot of fun to fight?
Yeah. um so the fight continues on, and we get introduced to our main group now. Like I'm guessing the posse that she's going to be rolling with someday, or maybe not,
Big
who knows.
prediction. Big
uh
prediction.
yeah.
Let's see if you're
And
right.
uh and it's
Who
like
knows? Definitely not me.
they save her at the last second before she gets like fucking microwave hot pocket. And yeah, we meet our cast of bad
Zany
boy.
characters.
Yeah. One has like a fucking mutated like pet thing that they call dogs that like tackle the fucking Lung in the
I think
face.
she's got multiples of them.
Yeah, she has like a few of them. um and her name is bitch, right?
Yeah. She calls herself bitch, but
But
the
like
PRT, the good guys call her Hellhound
yeah,
because
Hellhound. That's the name I was like looking
that's not
for.
like media appropriate.
Yeah.
So they came up with a different name for
So
her.
I'll just alternate between the two depending on how I feel. But we have bitch who controls like animals in some fashion or form. Tattletale, who is one of those people where um her power is probably super fucking broken, because whatever it is, it has some way of like sensing like either the weakness or just like the thoughts of people, or like the intent and feeling towards them. I don't know, like obviously we're gonna get a breakdown of probably how that's gonna work, but like it is fascinating. Like those types of abilities are usually pretty broken and are very useful in like a position, but I feel like, if somebody target her, she's gonna like, hit the ground. Like I don't know if there's gonna be an actual character like this in the story, but like she reminds me of like the eraser head of like the group, where like she's
The
like
what?
eraser head from My Hero, who
Mm.
like can like, turn off
Right,
people.
right.
Like it probably in like one of the most valuable people they have in terms of just actually dealing with a threat. But like, can get one shot in fucking CS:GO.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like their leader, which I forgot to write down his name.
It's Gru. Gru.
Gru.
Grue. You recognize that? I'm
Uh,
curious what you think about him.
Gru. Well, he's a character from the Minions,
God
and
damn it.
Despicable Me, but he,
Dispensable me.
yeah, but I mean he looks fine. I don't know. Did he actually do anything, or was he just
He
talking
didn't. He
to
didn't display his power. I was curious what you think about his name.
Gru? I don't know. It's kind of stupid, but like,
Okay.
I'll live with it.
No idea.
Um, but yeah, so you got Gru, who's like the leader of the group. Um, and then fucking, was it Rampant or somebody else?
Regent.
Regent. Um, what did she do, or was it she?
He is a guy. He didn't do anything either.
Okay,
He
I
and
just
Gru
wanted
did
to.
not display their powers at all.
Okay, but he did like talk and shit like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, you like fucked up this guy. How was that possible? And she was like, bugs. Well, no, I think
No,
he
she didn't say it.
it.
Tattletale said it.
Yeah.
Taylor's just sitting there like,
Yeah.
not saying anything, and
Yeah.
like Tattletale just bugs. She just bit the shit out of him with bugs and sprayed him with pepper spray.
Yeah. And then you know, they're like, hey, this guy was gonna come after us. Thank you a lot. Also, we're the bad guys. And it like,
But you are too, so it's cool.
yeah, you are too. You're one of us, right? And she's like, damn, I do look like a fucking terrifying cretin wearing bug armor, huh? Um, and they're like, thanks a lot. Oh, they have the fucking Scooby-Doo mystery van, so that's cool. Uh,
Dude, what?
their van. They have like a
Didn't they
van.
ride in on the dogs? Do they have a
No,
van?
yeah, they talk about
Oh shit! I don't remember that. Sorry. That's base that they have a van
oh
though.
no, I'm sorry. It's the creature is the size of a van. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember them having a van. I was like, I'm pretty sure they were riding on the dogs, but
Yeah.
you could be right.
I
Yeah. No.
apologize. No, they were riding. It was
Yeah.
just a
No, their
big.
dogs are the size of a fucking van.
Yeah. Um.
They don't have a van. They have a mobile beast the size of a van, and they've got
Yeah.
like 8 of them.
Yeah. But they're like, thanks a lot, and they like start to beat up Long because he's just getting his shit rocked. And the thing about it too is that like he's pretty much like that's another thing too. Lung was pretty much at his peak, right? Because he started to sprout rings and everything, and like had all of his armor going and stuff like that. At least from what I remember reading, and they were able to like wear him down even from that. Like correct me if I'm like speaking wrong here.
You were cutting out a bit, but I assume you said that he was like at his peak.
Yeah.
We don't know. We have no idea what his peak really looks like. And she says like there's rumors of him sprouting wings, so I think like the public doesn't know how much he can do. And it makes sense, right? Like if you're
Like he's basically turned into a
if the
dragon.
guy yeah, lung means dragon in Japanese.
Oh.
And if or Chinese, oh shit, I think it's Japanese. Oh, don't come after me. Yeah, I think like God, it might be Chinese. So now I'm freaking out about that.
I like how you can just look it up easily.
I could, and I haven't. I think the idea is that like the public doesn't know how powerful he is, and like the PRT doesn't have like databases on it, because again, you know, like control of information, and it makes sense that like you wouldn't really be able to record him when he's at his peak. Because like if you have a camera, it's just gonna get fucking burned to a crisp along with the cameraman.
Well, also like he's in like a
in
middle
area.
of a fight if he's ever like going that hard.
Exactly, and who would he be fighting that would get him to that level? But I also think that they say that they don't know if he has a cap.
Right. No, that's they did say that. I remember.
They don't know if there is a limit to how much power he can get.
Right, but through the poison and just like the accumulative damage he was taking, he was like getting sluggish or something like that, and they were able to like give him a bit of a beatdown.
That was just through the poison and the dog vans beating him up. Should we just call dogs vans for the rest of the book?
Yeah, so the vans were beating him up. So yep, and then they like thank you, and then they talk about the actual like pro heroes, which you said so nomenclature. I'm gonna have to get used to it, but they're called capes, right?
Yeah.
Like
Gladly mentions that in like episode 1.
Yeah. So capes are like the normal like superheroes that are like registered and everything like that.
Capes are heroes or villains.
Okay.
It's anyone with powers.
Gotcha.
Or you can call them parahumans.
I'm gonna call them guys.
Well, they're gonna use both throughout the book, so get used to it.
Yeah. But yes, we get to the final like chapter before the interlude, and you know our they're like, hey, we were kind of scared of like this one guy coming after us, and then you know they start to hear a person approaching, and it's our boy Arms Master, who they
don't hear him approaching.
I thought they
don't hear him. Lisa, sorry, fuck, damn it, I was trying not to say her name. Tattletale just knows. She's
okay,
like,
yes,
hey, he's gonna be here in a minute.
Yes, that's so right. Which is like insane. I don't know what the fuck, like, because like I'm assuming he like wasn't close by, like, so like I don't know what.
I mean, yeah, he's traveling on like a crazy teched out motorcycle. So he's gotta be moving pretty fast. He's got to be far away at that point.
Yeah, and like
minute out.
And again, that's like an insane like ability to just be able to ping and sense people.
Tattletale just knows.
Yeah.
What is her power? Ooh, we're gonna talk about it
Ooh,
later
ooh.
once we
It's,
get through the recap.
watch it just be like metafiction. She's like, oh, I can just look into another
I can look
dimension
through the
and
fourth wall.
yeah, and I can just
It's
read their
Deadpool.
wiki. That's it. But
Can read the wiki.
only to the point of the story where I'm at. So I don't really
There
know.
is a Marvel character who can do that.
Yeah.
There's like a
Uh,
Marvel character
yeah,
whose
Spider Gwen.
powers. Yeah,
Gwen's
Gwenpool. I
Gwenpool.
fucking love Gwenpool. She's great.
Yeah.
Adorable.
So yeah, he gets here and he's like, "Oh man, look at this guy." And he just like goes off screen and just fucking shoots him full of tranquilizer apparently just to like subside him, which is like
And I
fair.
think he's just, I think he doesn't just tranquilize him. He puts him in a steel cage and then he welds it to the sidewalk with just like whatever he has on him.
Right.
I have no idea how he did that.
But then we get like our first actual like, hey, this is a world of superheroes and you're out here like doing shit. Um, he's like, thank you for doing your shit, but also like, who the fuck are you? And I don't think like she fucking really says anything, except like I'm a good guy and shit like that.
She's just like, I'm a good guy, and he's like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah, that's that.
Uh,
He seems chill. I think Armsmaster gonna be a chill guy. I'm pretty sure he's gonna die, but like he seems like a chill guy.
Boy,
Um
you are going absolutely fucking ham with the predictions, dude. It's arc one. Chill out.
no, dude, I know my fiction. I know like this guy who's like seemed to be a genuinely good guy and is a superhero proper and seems to have like somewhat of a level head on him is gonna either like fucking die horribly because of like other people or he's gonna like sacrifice himself heroically and it's gonna be like
All
a
right,
big
let's write it down.
those are the two
That's a
things
prediction.
like
Let's see. Let's see
um
if it's correct.
but yeah, so and then he's like, hey, you want to sign up for the military? And she's like,
I think they're more cops.
uh
I call them closer to
yeah,
police.
yeah, you want to sign up with the Young Justice and like come work for them. And I love how
And
she's
Taylor's
like,
like absolutely fucking
yeah, because like she thought about because I was so just thinking like there has to be like teenage like superhero groups or at least a
Yep.
place to train them and things like that.
And
There's
it's a whole thing. It's called the wards.
yeah.
And if you're curious if they're going to be relevant in the future, the sequel is called Ward. So I'll give you 3 guesses on whether they're going to matter.
Because like obviously if it's a government organization they're going to be like child soldiers like My Hero does it, fucking The Boys does it, Invincible does it, like they're
Wait,
going to
there's a
train.
child. Who are the kid heroes and the boys?
I guess they don't have like kid heroes but they like
Is
train.
Kimiko like a teenager?
Yeah, like
I don't know.
she gets trained to be like a kid soldier person, child soldier. So
Definitely
that's
not a hero.
yeah. But they'll probably be like graded and things like that and all that jazz. But I also like how he does give her the opportunity to like claim this for herself. Like I like that he's like
you want credit, and
yeah, I like
she
that
has to think
he's
through it really carefully.
like not being as like head ass as I thought he would be. I thought it would be a little bit more like, well, good citizen, but like he's talking pretty frank to her, just being like, hey, like I'm not gonna
you get
say
this. I really like the sort of like coworker vibe you get from these two.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
way he talks, he's just like, oh, it's like like this is Taylor from accounting.
Yeah.
Let's talk business for a minute. You know, he's just talking to shop.
Yeah. Which probably just goes to show that like whatever, like if she was a danger, he's probably very confident in that he can like take her down like right then and there. Cause she like, cause I would think he'll be like, I don't know what the fuck she can do. She took down like a pretty strong, like, like villain, but and shit like that. But I believe this is like, I'm talking casually to you. You don't seem like a bad person, but also probably like I could chop off your head, before you think kind of deal. If I needed to.
If indeed he needed to, if he wanted to do that, he probably could.
Yeah. But he seems pretty competent. He seems like he has like a good intention and he understands like, hey, if you want this, you can have it, but it's probably, through subtext, let me get this and claim it. And then I love that she didn't keep like the fucking other people like out of her. I feel like in another story she would have been like, oh yeah, I don't like, I was, he just fell over, and not be like, yeah, no, there's a whole nother group of like bad people, and he like fucked him up at the very end, and just like spills the beans. And then he's like, holy shit, somebody like knew I was coming without like, knowing anything. And she's like, yep, it's kind of weird. And he's like, all right, cool, noted.
Yeah.
um
Love the way he says he's like clearly got some history with them. He's like, these guys, they knew I was coming. I nodded once. As much respect as I had for Arms Master, I wasn't in much of a mood to repeat myself. That explains a lot, he said, staring off into the distance. Then after a few moments, he just starts talking
yeah.
about like something else entirely.
Yeah. And I guess we get to our first actual like poignant bad guy, which is bomb maker. Wait, what's the guy's name?
She's a woman, and her name is Bakada.
Bakata. But no, the guy, Bon Voyage. We have Bon Voyage.
Bon Voyage is here.
Yes.
She says, Monsieur Crible.
Yeah. Mrs. Taylor.
What?
That's gonna be like Mrs. Taylor. Like
I don't know. I think there's probably a female version of Monsieur. Monsieur.
But yeah,
It
now
doesn't matter. I'm not even trying. No matter how French you say something, French people will always correct you.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got Bon Voyage as like a current target for at least our main guy, Arm Master here. And then she just like goes home, right? Yeah, like afterwards.
Yeah, then she just leaves.
Yeah.
They talk a bit about tinkers. I wanted to ask you about
Yeah,
tinkers.
yeah. So like that's like the classification of her, like Bon Voyage.
Yeah. And also, she says that Arms Master is probably a tinker.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which is an interesting, like, I don't know. I get like, the super genius kind of deal. But it's an interesting concept of it being like, oh, they're just super geniuses in this one field.
Yeah, it's
like,
such a weird and specific way to do like, a sort of Iron Man type, right?
Yeah.
Like, instead of just being like, okay, so there's these really clever people who figured out stuff like, Peter Parker, he didn't get like the recipe for spider webbing implanted into his head when the spider bit him.
Right.
He's just like smart.
He just fucking did that shit.
But in this world, it's explicitly a power.
Which is interesting.
And they have specializations, and they also seem to be like really powerful too.
Yeah.
I think it's a very cool piece of world building, and I'm curious about your thoughts on the whole thing.
I again, it's I have to see how it's used further on, but like it's kind of like a thing where like how much MacGuffining are we gonna do if somebody's just like, yes, I am the neutralizer specialist. I just make shit that like I'm the Doofenshmirtinator. Like I just make shit that like
to solve this arc.
Yeah, like literally. So I'm like I'm curious on how that's gonna work out. But I have faith. And they do seem like they're just a person that makes things. So like, you could probably beat them up if you catch them off guard or something like that. But not our boy Arms Master. He's tight. But yeah, so we got Bon Voyage.
I mean, you probably couldn't beat him up since he's wearing like super high-tech armor.
Yeah.
And has like a fucking cool ass spear with a grappling hook built into it.
Yeah, and
so what do you think? What do you think his specialization is? Because all the Tinkers supposedly have a specialization.
Well, he has like a bike. He has like a halberd thing. Like it's a little like vague what it could possibly be, but I'm gonna guess. Like weird, like just like armaments. Like literally, like he just specializes in like.
And like making weapons.
Yeah,
or like tools.
He's just like a forge master of like various high-tech equipment, which again feels very like generalist, so it might be more specific.
Yeah, that feels very like broad.
Yeah, because it's like
compared to bombs, which is Bakura's thing.
Yeah. So then she goes home, and then we get like the interlude, which is just like we have like a TV or like some type of special going on. And they talk about the first like hero and how they were just like a golden like person that came down and started just helping people, which is very interesting. Like You know,
Yeah,
just
there's
literally a
God,
god.
I really wish we were doing more than one arc so I could like just sink our teeth into this more, but
Well,
for
it's
now
just
this is all we get.
yeah, because it's just like oh, because it's not like he showed up and then um everybody like started to have powers. They kind of did, but it seems like he showed up for a while and then other people started to have powers, and he was like helping everybody, and he didn't talk too much, and like he just would go to places and like
He said one thing ever. He
yeah,
just said his name.
yeah, he just said his name, and people are like,
Oh shit.
yeah. And then more people started to have powers, and it looks like this was in like the yeah, like it started off in the 80s, which is interesting. Uh,
82. He showed up in
82,
March of 82.
which obviously
No, May. Excuse me.
makes me think that like unlike something like My Hero or other like world superhero worlds where there just is, it's probably like manufactured, and he was like the golden child because
Yeah, I think he was created
yeah,
like by people or
yeah, definitely.
in like a lab,
Yeah,
sort of Homelander style.
yeah,
All right, that's your prediction for Scion. Lock that in. We're gonna come back to that when we get more information about him, and I want to
yeah,
see
because
what you
like
think
he
about his
like
story because
they
he's fascinating. I also think it's worth looking into his name. Names are really important in this book. We should probably do like a section on names at some point.
yeah.
Um, but keep in mind what Scion means, right?
What
You know
a
Scion, right?
what is
Son or
son?
like
Yeah, okay,
descendant.
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I remember when I was reading this book, when as soon as I saw Scion, that was like a big blinking red light that was like, oh, Superman, last son of Krypton, right?
Okay.
You know,
Because he just like they don't say like what happened to him. He just like fucks off, right? Or is he like still doing?
he's still around. He's just like running around solving problems every day,
Okay,
like
because
all day. That's all he does. He
oh
just flies around the world. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't speak. He doesn't eat. He's worn like the same clothes since like 20 years ago,
right,
and he just like flies around and saves kittens and trees and like stops floods and
yeah, and then like
picks
somebody
up
else
supervillains
tried
and
to
shit.
like be a hero and like fucked up, and they were like, okay, not everybody is a god level being. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, and then we get into Taylor's dad, fucking
Taylor's
Danny.
dad, Danny Hebert. My God, this guy. So much to
He
talk about.
seems like a guy. He just seems like a dude who has a daughter, and he's like, oh, my wife died. I don't know how to.
What a crybaby, right?
Yeah, like, oh, Martha, if only you were here, I could.
Why did you say that name?
Literally, um, I I predict that
Scion was Martha was Danny's
yeah, wife.
first
Imagine.
first wife's first husband.
Yeah. But he's just
Danny
kind of
was
going
Danny
through it.
was Danny was Scion's cuck.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Go on.
No. And so we get a little bit of backstory of him of just being like wife dead, or at least like wife just not around, right? Not actually dead.
I don't remember what they say in Arc One. I don't want to give you spoilers.
I think her mom is just not around because I would have remembered if they were like, oh, she's dead.
Gotten her cell phone. Yeah, I don't think they actually say what happened to her yet.
Yeah. But yeah, so like mom's gone. He's like, God, I want my daughter. I like literally, I miss my wife Tails. I wish
miss
my
her a lot.
yeah, I wish my daughter was normal. That
Wasn't
girl,
a teenager.
yeah, that girl, literally, that girl ain't right.
And then what's interesting is that he like knows about the bullying. Like he
Yeah,
knows
he
how
acted,
terrible her life actually is,
yeah,
and this is what he chooses to do about it.
yeah, because like because again, she's like I don't know because we're doing it from his perspective, but I can completely believe Taylor being like, don't talk to me, Dad. I don't want, because he says like, oh, she looks at me like hey, don't talk about it, don't bring it up, and like he has like justified reasons of like not wanting to intervene because unless his daughter like is the one that like brings it up, but obviously he tried to do something and it didn't really work out. And like it's a little bit of like, you know, what am I going to do kind of deal. Like I'm just a single dad trying to raise this troubled teen. Um, but I'm sure he's going like prediction for I'm predicting Danny. Danny is gonna be like, hey daughter, your mom I forgot to tell you is alive and is maybe like the main like the main bad guy. Like I
Mm.
I like listen, I'm going like Emma
You're going
is
full scarecrow mode.
yeah, like I believe mom is definitely alive and it did something like shitty or something like
And
that.
you
Or
think that Emma is also like a super villain, and they're gonna team up.
yes, I like that. I'm
Got it.
genuinely like, you know, either they're gonna become like Emma's gonna become like enemies to friends like Sasuke Naruto style, or they're gonna
I
like
thought I thought Sasuke like turned into a villain.
like he does that like every other arc. Um
Okay, I don't know Naruto. I watched like 1.5 seasons of it, and I thought it was really stupid.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, and I think the mom is definitely like, oh, I have power. Like my genuine thought is that, oh, I have powers. I don't want my daughter to live in a world where I like, you know, have these things. So I'm gonna like sequester myself or something like that. Um, little does she know that, you know, she passed her genes of moving things with bugs to her daughter. Because I don't think, yeah, like he doesn't know about her powers, right?
No, he
No.
absolutely does not.
Yeah.
He
So it's
doesn't know
like,
where she is. He doesn't know what she's doing,
yeah.
and he
And
doesn't like. He doesn't know like anything about his daughter anymore.
yeah,
She's so secretive with him,
yeah.
and like he doesn't push at all
Right, because
about
he
it.
doesn't want to make it worse and things like that. So like I get it. So like dad, he's a dad. I feel completely neutral about him. I hope he gets his shit together, and I hope like Taylor like talks to her dad and like, you know, maybe like watches some Fortnite with him together or something.
Watches some Fortnite gameplay.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're doing next week.
Yeah, so stay tuned for
On
like
this.
that
Stay
amazing
tuned
game.
for our because this has been a great Minecraft Let's Play. So we're gonna be doing Fortnite next week,
Yeah.
which
So
is
yeah,
very in the zeitgeist right now. I think.
so like that's kind of like the whole arc right there of just Taylor, you know, getting bullied, makes suit, pulls out suit, decides to go out there and fight crime in the bad neighborhood, finds like a proper like villain, fucking annoys the shit out of him, until did they say what the group's name is?
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, a group
Arms
of
Master might have mentioned it, but I'm not sure.
yeah, the group of ne'er do wells, where like most of them are teenagers, right? Like I think she says like only Gru is the only one that looks like an adult, um,
Uh huh.
and the rest are like teenage age.
Yeah, she assumes that Gru is also a teenager and just kind of looks like an adult.
Yeah, um, and then like fucking Arms Master, my boy, comes up and wraps up all the problems and issues with our boy Long, and she's like, well, that was something, and goes home. And that's the end of arc one with her dad like sitting
And
there
that's it.
sad and alone.
Just stewing and being like, "Fuck, I'm such a bad father,"
Yeah.
and then
I'm
not doing anything about it. I think the description, the perspective of Danny is super interesting.
yeah.
The
Because
way
like
he like
he seems like a good guy, but doesn't know how to like handle it. Because he's like, oh, I don't want
and
to see her mad.
he's so overwhelmed, and he doesn't, and he's like so worried about like pushing her away, but then
Right.
like his solution to that is just to not interact with her at all, basically,
Yeah. Unless she
and just
interacts
pushing her
for.
away as a result.
Yeah.
It's such a shit situation for both of them, and I have a hard time blaming either. But you know, it's also like, Jesus, Danny, you got to do something.
uh, yeah, she's gonna start doing drugs.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he's
so
gonna start doing uh, pepper spray.
so first arc, give it like if I had to give it a rating, like probably like a 4 out of 5 Black Widows. Um, like
4 to 5 Black Widows.
yeah. See, that's
You're only allowed to have 5
yeah.
anymore.
Like very good introduction very fast paced for like jumping into the action,
Yeah, you
which
get a lot of action out of this.
yeah.
It's an action-packed book. It's superheroes.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's
Um
about people being tortured in school. It's great. Wee.
yeah. Um like I know it gets like way more like quote unquote darker just from like the stuff you've told me about. Which I don't really remember. I just know it was being like kind of fucked up, so I'm not like being spoiled.
There's some shit that
Yeah.
happens.
Um and we get a few characters. We get Emma, which probably will come back later. Taylor's like pretty cool. I hope like I I've always liked the more happy-go-lucky like protagonist that like has to deal with angst and like becomes like the world is cruel, like loses their innocence on the world. But like Taylor already is like lost her innocence, so I'm wondering like
Taylor's a
she
very jaded 15-year-old.
yeah, like she has like the desire to become a superhero, but obviously like that shit is gonna be like shitted on. But she's like I'm saying I feel like it wouldn't do much for her to like become a school shooter like energy with all the shit she has to deal
I
with.
don't think it does much for anyone to do that.
Yeah. Um. So there's Taylor.
Yeah, she
Um.
talks about like I could go full carry on the school, but it wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah. So there's
Which
her.
is interesting because it implies that Stephen King still exists in this
Yeah,
alternate
that
universe.
is true. That there is a Stephen King who probably power is like writing questionably aged kids doing questionable things.
You gotta wonder how capes in general have influenced media in this world. Does Stephen King write about supervillains as his like horror story
Yeah.
antagonists,
Um.
or what? Was Carrie like a true story?
Yeah. Probably. It
Was
probably
he
is.
actually like
Yeah. That's
Stephen
probably the
King was like a
thing.
biographer in this world, and he
Yeah.
just detailed the one girl who had pig blood powers
Yeah.
who went nuts on her school and got shot by the police.
So, but yeah. So pretty interesting. I'm very curious about like the different categories and types of like powers and things like that and like how they deal with it. I'm very interested in the actual organization and how they are organized and like run things.
PRT, yeah.
Yeah, cuz like, obviously they're in major cities that have a lot of people, but like, would they have one like in fucking like Kansas City, Missouri, like would they have like a structure for like the
Maybe.
not as big cities, but like also it's like will the quality of superhero be like lower, obviously. Like I will I'm very curious to get on with to
There's
see the
definitely some world building to get into with this book.
yeah.
Um, it's
But
also worth noting that the PRT is an American organization,
that's right.
and the way they do things around the world is different, which
Mm,
is also super interesting.
yeah, which makes sense. But yeah, that's like kind of my thoughts and like run through for this first arc.
Yeah,
Any
so
questions you want to have for me?
let's see, what did I have? I was curious what you think of the powers of each super that we don't have like, just a description of their powers is so far. What your best guess is?
Well,
Just curious.
obviously, like Hellhound, aka Bitch, uh, has some amount of like summon control over like these giant animals. Whether
Yeah, so what
they're
do you think she like materializes them?
I personally think that like either they like they're at her beckoning command. That's one thing. But like how she got them and things like that, I think maybe like either like imprinting genetic thing or something like that, or like she just like fucking claps her cheeks and like summons one.
All right,
Uh,
buddy, you gotta like.
I
I
don't
think
know
we're gonna have to have a
why.
limit on the amount of times you can say "clap your cheeks" per episode because that's the second time this one, and if that becomes a trend, we're gonna
Like
have a problem.
I don't know. I don't know why I feel like the idea of like, oh, to activate your power, you have to just fucking like just throw it back. It's so funny to me. Um, I mean, we know next to nothing about like,
It's like Shazam. Like, you
yeah,
gotta say a
yeah,
special catchphrase,
yeah.
but
To
instead,
say, to activate my like
instead of saying "flame on" for Johnny Storm,
you just hear like um, but yeah, we don't know nothing about like fucking Gru or Grant, like, because they literally did nothing. Tattletale, obviously, some type of um like mind reading or uh like uh like sixth sense like ability, because you know there is a character in X-Men that kind of has her same ability where
I didn't know that. Who is
where
it?
so I remember her from X-Men 3 the movie, but I forgot what her actual name is. But basically she literally can sense a mutant, know their ability and know like their threat level. Like she literally is like
Hmm.
a Doppler radar of like, you know, understanding the person's like ability and like how dangerous it is, like I guess to her in that like sense. So like, you know, she literally
Yes,
is
maybe
like,
she's
oh,
got something like that.
that's like an omega level mutant or something like that. Like, you know, she can just sense like the powers. Like she literally is a power scaler. Like she looks at Magneto and is like, you're really fucking strong. I'm gonna be on your team. Um,
You know, it's really strong unless you use a wooden gun.
yeah, of course. But that seems pretty cool. She seems like she's gonna have a lot of like bandit. Because the thing is too, it's not like she just senses like abilities or things like that. Like she could tell what the fuck like our girl was thinking. Like,
And she knew when Arms Master was about to show up
yeah,
too.
which is like way beyond like just like being able to tell. Like, I think it's probably some like psychological like the more like here's my thing. Here's my theory is that she can pull out more information from you the more you like don't want to tell somebody. Like, you know, hence the name Tattletale. So like, you know,
Okay.
like either like, you know, if your desire like, you know, she can like tell or know what information you don't want people to know. And it's like obviously, you know, for our boy Arm Master, he didn't want people to know he was coming, but she could ping that and know. um
Okay. That's a solid theory.
yeah, so
I like that.
that's my lock in for that. Everybody else, like obviously like Lung, you know, it's just very Hulk coded. The angrier I get, the stronger. um and like our
We
boy,
got we got pretty clear descriptions of what he
yeah.
could do.
I
I was just
mean,
curious about the ones we didn't really get very good
in like
descriptions
Arms
about, like
Master,
Scion also.
well, Scion, okay, Scion is like I don't even like want to think about his abilities because he's just like the god tier character. Like he
Okay.
could probably like do anything, um, and like, you know, he doesn't need to eat or sleep apparently, so he's literally like, you know, flying. Like he's not like god tier. Like he can't make copies of himself, at least that we know of. Uh, and he
He
has to
can't make
like
copies of what?
he can't like make copies of himself, at least that
Oh,
we know of. Like he has to, like there's travel time for him. um
yeah.
but like, you know, I feel like he's just like either some uber powerful like psyker, like psychic abilities, like reality warper kind of style like Scarlet Witch,
Hmm.
or like, you know, he's just very physically like has a lot of like powers and abilities. So like that's my take on it. And again, I still think he's
Okay.
like genetically engineered. Like, do you know anything about, because again, I'm pulling my knowledge from like all my superhero stuff to like make my like idea and things like that. Like, do you know anything about Sentry?
Yeah, you were talking to me. You were talking to me about him because you saw he was in the Thunderbolts movie, right?
Yeah, like his
You were
whole,
telling me a little bit about him.
yeah, like his whole thing is that like he drank, he was like a fucking crackhead, like drug head before, and like broke into like a scientist lab kind of deal. And they like, you know, had a soldier formula like what for like they do for Cap and like a bunch of other people, but it was like 1,000 times stronger. So like when he took it,
Uh huh.
instead of like becoming just like a strong dude or a stronger dude, he literally got like godlike powers. But he's like mentally unwell, so he has like a dark side of himself called the Void that like comes
And
out when,
it's like a metaphor, is
yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah, it's all in the head. But like he gives very Sentry vibe where like he can just do anything, but he's probably like really mentally fucked up.
Good prediction. We'll come back to that for sure.
But yeah, that's
Um.
kind of like what I feel for like the powers at least, and like what everybody can do.
Okay. All right. That I think that covers all the notes I had.
Yeah. And just
and
to touch
I don't
on
really have. Yeah,
uh
go on.
no, just to touch on like the themes a little bit. It's definitely
Mhm.
like hero's journey. Like I feel like, that's gonna be Taylor's thing of like, she's gonna see that the world isn't as like, colorful, unlike the superhero side as she thought. Um and like, shit's gonna happen and she's gonna like, learn to uh like deal with these difficult situations and stuff like that and become like, hopefully become a better person overall and like stop the bad guy, and like, fucking like learn to talk to her dad. Like that's this whole thing is just her like having the courage to tell her that, tell her dad that like she watches PewDiePie. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So you're thinking hero's journey like Joseph Campbell, like
yeah.
12 steps or
Yeah,
13
like she's
stages,
gonna
whatever the
she's gonna
hell.
go through it. She's gonna like probably like want to kill herself at some point. And then be like, no, just like my favorite bug, John Spindlelegs said to me, like, I gotta,
She's gonna get
I
a pet bug named John Spindleleg's her favorite spider who talks to her.
yeah,
Yeah,
is
she
yeah,
does learn. She does learn insect tongue halfway throughout the book, and she learns how to talk to her bugs.
yeah. And then like
That's
again,
one of the powers she gets.
we got a group of like ruffians who's gonna be like the scrappy group who like I hope are like, somewhat good people, um who knows with this, but also like I don't
Yeah,
want
what do you
all
think the place of these villains is going to be in this hero's journey of hers? I mean, is
um
she going to have to fight them? What do you think?
well, I know that like she joins them in some fashion or form because you talked about it, so that's like the
Ah,
one
shit! Did I?
yeah,
Shit.
yeah, so those, so guys, for the
Look,
record, I
guys,
know,
I'm sorry. We weren't planning on doing this when I first started telling him about Worm. I was just trying to get him to read the book.
yeah,
My bad.
but that's like about it though. It's just like I know she joins like the bad guy group, but also I I don't want the story to be where like the heroes, like the actual heroes, are all like really shitty or something like that. I hope it's more like hopeful that like, these people that do these things have like good intentions. Like it don't have to be like every single one of them, but like, like majority of them want to do the right thing, but like, has to go through like bureaucrats and things like that. Like there's gonna be some shitty heroes that are like abusing the system and things, but like, I feel like my boy Armsmaster, is a good guy, and I hope other people that are actual superheroes are like, you know, trying to be a good person and not like actively like abusing it and shit like that. So that's what I hope. I mean, if it turns into like, every one of them is just as bad as like the villains and shit like that, like I'll be intrigued on how they handle it, but it's also will
I
be
would
like,
say that I would not be so enamored with this book if it was just like that's the boys comic.
yeah,
That's what the boys comic is. Like every single hero is a piece of shit actually, and isn't the world terrible? And I don't like that
yeah,
fucking story. That story sucks. It's just boring. It's a boring take on reality.
yeah,
So I whether or not everyone turns out to suck, I promise it's going to be at least more in depth than that. There's going to be a purpose if that's the case.
right. Because again, I'm excited to like see like fucking our girl go through the shitter, um, and like face like people. Like I would not be surprised if like there are multiple people that she's like, I literally can't do like anything to this person, and she has to like fucking opt out. Um, like, you
Hmm.
know, that kind of shit. And it'd be like, it'll be like a first where like, the protagonist literally like will probably die, and she knows this and is like actively choosing to like pick her fights or at least like be a supporting role while other people like handle the shit. Um, but yeah, anyway, that's kind of how I'm feeling
Yeah,
about
I think
chapter one.
we're just looking forward to what the future holds. We've got more reading to do, and we'll be back
Yeah.
with more of this next time.
What's
As
what's our what's
you
our what's our sign out? What's our like? And that's it, folks.
I probably should have discussed this before, guys. Well, you know what they say. turns out we were the ones to get in the last word.
Okay. Yeah.
I would like you.
Words.
So can you come down like after? Don't put this in the recording. Can you come down after and shoot me in the head for saying that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
just
yeah,
take that out of the
this.
recording. We can
We're,
edit
we're
that out, and you can use AI to fill for me for the next 29 chapters,
okay, okay. All right. This. All right. All right.
and then also all of Ward.
On three, we're gonna say
What?
worm out. Like
Worm
worm.
out.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Ready. Ready. And
1, 2, 3. Oh yeah,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you go on 3. I'll
Okay.
wait
Okay.
for
On
you.
three. Three. All right. Like, hey,
Worm out.
thanks.
I'm sorry, I got
No.
excited.
No. 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 It's okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our first episode. Hopefully, you'll be up within like a few days or like a week of this because I want them
They
to.
don't know that we're recording this.
Oh, you're right. Hey guys, we're actually.
Who cares?
No, that's true. That's true. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening to our first episode of Word Out. Next
Last
time, last
word.
word. And our signature cutout is gonna here it comes. All right, ready? All right,
Yeah,
like,
1, 2, 3.
all
Here
right,
we go.
1, 2, 3. Word out.
Word out. Wait,
Yeah.
worm out.
Worm
All
out.
right, bye,
Worm out.
everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Jesus fucking Christ.